President Trump wants a sixth branch of the military, the Space Force. Our next guest used to be the commander of the International Space Station. He says, yeah, we need a Space Force. Colonel Terry Virts joins us now, former NASA astronaut. So welcome to the program. Great to see you.
Good morning, Stuart. Good to be here.
I think a lot of people say, yes, we need a Space Force. I want a Space Force that's aggressive, that takes aggressive action, that goes on the attack. Not interested in some defense. What do you say?
Well, this is not, I don't think, necessarily about militarizing space. Actually, that happened back in the 1950s when the Soviet Army launched Sputnik and the U.S. Navy launched Vanguard. That's something that happened a long time ago. I think a big part of what we're talking about now is properly organizing the Department of Defense. Right now, we have space assets, and we have for many decades, that are across the Air Force, Army, Navy, and different branches. And I think we're talking about putting them together in one organization that can be more effective and more efficient.
But it does have attack capabilities, doesn't it?
Well, there's a lot of different capabilities. I'll tell you one of the biggest things that we need is the ability to defend ourselves. Space enables not only our military operations, but our commercial operations. Like your program would not be seen across the world if we didn't have space. The Dow and banking wouldn't happen if we couldn't have our space assets functioning. So that's an important part of it also.
Do you happen to know whether or not we've got weapons in space at this moment that can take out our rivals' satellites before they take out ours?
Well, I don't know all the specific capabilities, but I do know that when I was commander of the space station, we had to maneuver my spaceship to avoid debris from what had been a Chinese anti-satellite weapons demonstration. They wanted to prove to us that they could take out our satellites, and they did, and that debris is still in space, and I actually had to maneuver to avoid hitting pieces from that explosion.
Would you like to be the commander of the new Space Force?
No, thank you. There's a lot of very qualified folks, but that's not at all my goal is just, to be honest, Stuart, this environment we're in of this political ideology constantly is so toxic. Senator McCain's death has really brought that to light. And this is an issue that's too important. We need to talk about it rationally, and I think this is a great time to do that.
Should it be an Air Force general who runs the Space Force? What do you think? No, I mean, look, I mean, you got to sell this thing. Who's going to run it?
Right. Well, that's a great question. The president has said 2020 is when he wants this Space Force up and running. So I'm sure they haven't picked out the person who's going to run it yet. Of course, you'll have a civilian Secretary of Space, just like you do Air Force, Army, Navy, but you'll also have the military officers from within. I'm sure they'll bring folks from within the Air Force, also other branches of the military and civilians.
Let's hope, because if we go to war in space, I want to win. Sir, welcome. Great to have you on the show. Come and see us again soon. I want to hear more about this aggressive Space Force. Thank you, sir.
Well, let's talk. Let's talk again.
Okay.